Michelle to do the declaration of office for members of council.
Would you like everybody to sit down while the other announcement, or everybody's in? All right. So, I would call upon the councilors then to each say aye and their name and go down the line and down the line, and then to say the rest of the oath in unison.
I, Dennis Doyle.
Hi, Francis Smith.
Hi, Bruce Higgs.
Hi, Bill McDonald.
Hi, Alan Rebel. Hi, Jerry Martin.
Hi, Ron Vanderwall.
Hi, Ron Higgins.
Would you like to speak, please? Thank you.
Having been elected to the office of councillor in the municipality of the corporation of the county of Frontenac, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any nor word or promise for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will solely and regularly respect, direct, in accordance with the municipal Provisions Act. I will bear faith and allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, sovereign for that time.
And
And make this solemn promise and declaration to be obedient to truth, and knowing that it is the same force and effect as
Thank you. Now, I'd like to call upon each of you to come forward and in turn, when I call your name, to sign the oath. Thank you. Councillor Dennis Doyle. Councillor Francis Smith. Thank you. Councillor Bruce Higgs. Councillor Bill McDonald. Councillor Ron Higgins.
Thank you.
Councillor Ron Vanderbilt. Councillor Jerry Martin.
Thank you.
That completes the declaration of office of all of the new counselors. Congratulations to all the counselors. Wish you all the very best in the next 4 years.
So if you can all just be seated now, the first item of business is I will call for nominations for the office of warden. To date, I have received one nomination, and that is by Councillor Doyle to nominate Councillor Higgins as the warden. Is there a seconder for that nomination? Councillor Martin? And are there any other nominations for the office of warden? Seeing none, can I ask for somebody to move a motion to close nominations? Councillor Smith? And a seconder? Councillor McDonald? All in favor? And so next item of business, sorry, Councillor Higgins, do you accept the nomination as warden?
Yes, I do.
So for the election of deputy warden, to date, I have received one nomination from Councillor Doyle to nominate Councillor Francis Smith as the deputy warden. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Vanderwall? And are there any other nominations for the office of deputy warden? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to close nominations? Councillor Higgins and Councillor Doyle? All in favor? Councillor Smith, do you accept the nomination for deputy warden? I do. So I will call upon Madam Justice Truesdale to do the oath of declaration of office for the warden and deputy warden.
Sorry. Go with Francis first. Yeah, ladies first.
Sure. So, are you ready then to take the declaration of office for deputy warden?
I am.
Okay. You could read that aloud, please.
I, Francis Smith, having been elected to the office of Deputy Warden in the municipality of the Corporation of the County of Frontenac, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Congratulations, Deputy Warden Smith.
Thank you very much.
Ron Higgins, are you prepared to take the office for the declaration of office for warden?
That I am.
If you could read that, please.
I, Ron Higgins, have been elected to the office of warden in the municipality of the Corporation of the County of County of Frontenac. Do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and the effect as if made under oath.
Congratulations, Warden Higgins.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It now gives me great pleasure then to place the chain of office on Warden Higgins.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to call on Wendy Higgins for a moment to come forward. Where is she? On behalf of the council and staff.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Truesdale, and staff, new council, and members of the public. Our dress uniform from the paramedics and fire chiefs. Thank you very much. So I wanted to start off by saying good morning, council, staff, and distinguished guests. Today marks the end of our last four-year term and the beginning of our next four-year term of Frontenac County Council. I would like to thank the last term of council for working together effectively, efficiently, and collaboratively to accomplish our many successes over the last 4 years. I would like to welcome to council the three returning mayors to the County Council, Mayor Smith, Mayor Doyle, and Mayor Vanderwall. I also want to congratulate and welcome our new County of Frontenac Council members, Councilor McDonald from Central, Councilor Higgs from the Islands, Councilor Riddell from South, and Councilor Martin from the North. A little bit about the county. The County of Frontenac was established in 1865 and has over 150 years of history, providing high-quality service to the residents of Frontenac County. The county is focused on continuous improvement and is consistently seeking better ways of conducting business and sharing services to ensure the value of our ratepayers. Under the guidance of Kevin Farrell, our manager of continuous improvement, the county utilizes the Lean Six Sigma methodology to accomplish this. Lean is used to assess and improve organizational processes and to identify efficiencies and reduce costs in support of our corporate priority projects. We currently have 20 employees on the Lean implementation Frontenac team. Of that, we have 2 that are close to achieving their black belt, which is the highest degree for the Six Sigma program. We have 8 green belts and 10 yellow belts, with 82 employees taking part in at least one Lean project since it was incorporated. Through these efforts, we have realized significant time and operational cost savings, of which we're expecting to see the numbers early in the new year of the benefits from the program. The County of Frontenac is also a member of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, which is a group of wardens from 11 Eastern Ontario counties and 2 single-tier municipalities. We work diligently with our provincial and our federal governments in addressing pressing issues and promoting our region. The caucus works to improve the well-being of Eastern Ontario by engaging with local politicians and residents and fostering cooperation at all levels of the government. The EOWC is a highly respected caucus by both the federal and provincial governments. The services the county provide include the Fairmont Home, which is an accredited 128-bed long-term facility, Frontenac Paramedic Services providing land ambulance service to over 150,000 residents within the County of Frontenac and the City of Kingston. Marine Services provides a county-run ferry service from the mainland to Howe Island and runs 24/7, 365 days a year. Planning Services is responsible for lending and encouraging land use planning that benefits the entire county and maintains our pristine environment. Economic Development Services to assist with responsible, sustainable economic development and promotion in areas such as trails, recreation, agriculture, and food and beverage. The county liaises with the City of Kingston, who is the consolidated service manager for social services, child care, social housing, and homelessness, to ensure the county residents have equal and fair access to these services. We also liaise with Kingston for the Kingston Frontenac Public Library, of which we have 11 library branches throughout the Frontenacs.
For county staffing, our staffing includes the Frontenac paramedic services, long-term care, financial, information services, including information technology and GIS, human resources, legislative services, and administration. Our staff provides excellent delivery of services on behalf of the county and provides support to the townships as requested and within the county mandate. Now, some accomplishments that we have achieved. Highlight from the last 4 years include the Fairmont Home marked its 50th anniversary this year. The Fairmont Home also worked together with staff, volunteers, and residents in developing a new brand which was launched this past fall. The county official plan was approved by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in January 2016, which also granted the county to be the approval authority for the township official plans. We have accessibility services program in place, which provides accessible customer service to persons with disabilities, removing the barriers for people with disabilities and ensuring no new barriers are created. We have in place a sustainability action plan called Directions for Our Future. It includes 4 pillars of sustainability and are the focus throughout the planning process. The 4 pillars include social, cultural, economic, and environmental. We completed a private road study in 2016, which conducted a countywide assessment of the existing private lane systems. This was done to recommend a planning framework that could be used to best manage these lanes throughout the county, promote private lane improvements, and provide planning policies for township official plans to act as a guide for the future development on private lanes. We also developed the Frontenac County Trails Master Plan to set, we created a Trails Master Plan and nearing completion of the KP Trail from Kingston to Charlotte Lake. We developed an economic development charter for the Frontenac, which saw us implement a very successful brand ambassador program to stimulate economic development. Also to develop a new county brand and organize many highly attended events aimed at promoting the Frontenacs. Between Kingston and the county, we have a 10-year municipal housing and homelessness plan in place. We also have an age-friendly community action plan in place. We developed a highly successful social media program, and we're currently implementing a senior housing program across all 4 townships, with the audience recently completing theirs. So when you start to write down these accomplishments over the years and you put it on paper, you have to be quite proud of what was accomplished by this council over the last 4 years. We also have some challenges going forward. We're in the process of completing a strategic planning exercise to identify our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats, which will help us identify our key goals for the upcoming term of office. From my own personal view, I see the following challenges and the need to continue some following projects. Through the Eastern Ontario Warden's Caucus, we need to finalize a very important cell gap and broadband project that was underway. That project is shovel ready, and we would love to start this project in 2019. This is the one key item that will address most of our economic and our safety concerns in Eastern Ontario, and especially in the remote sections of Renfrew, Addington, Hastings, Lanark, and Frontenac. In the spring, we will complete the last short stretches of the KMP Trail from Kingston to Charlotte Lake. We will then need to develop a plan to provide the last link in the KP Trail from Charlotte Lake through North Frontenac to Calabogie, the final link to the Trans-Canada Trail System. And over the next term, we hope to complete the senior housing projects for the 4 townships. We want to continue to identify a solution for our new administration building, and we need to somehow address the high rate of absenteeism for Fairmont Homes and Frontenac Paramedic Services and Marine Service unionized workers. There have been small gains here, but the one issue alone is costing the county close to $750,000 a year in absenteeism rates. As of last council meeting in November for FPS at Fairmont Home, we have incurred an absenteeism cost of approximately $544,000 over budget as of the end of August this year.
I've also identified several items that may or may not be an issue over the next 4 years, but they are ones that we need to be cognizant of when we work on a strategic direction for the next 4 years. As I said in my North Frontenac Mayor's inaugural address, the recent restructuring of the Toronto Council is an item that I personally believe will expand to municipalities across the province. And if it does happen, that would not need to be in place before the next provincial election. Nothing has been communicated to me that this may happen, but to me this is obvious that the last amalgamation is not working the way it was intended and does not reflect the needs of some municipalities today. I believe we should be thinking about this challenge now to ensure we're proactive and ready in the event that the province mandates a restructuring. Recruitment and retention of staff may be an issue that could have a negative impact on sustainability. In a recent draft report by the Eastern Ontario Leadership Council, it states that in Eastern Ontario, excluding cities, for every worker that entered the workforce, 135 workers have left. That's kind of disturbing for Eastern Ontario. From the provincial aspect, for every worker who entered the workforce, 1.5 workers have left. The point being is that the workforce is being depleted and is only going to get worse as the retirement of the baby boomers kicks into high gear, which is starting now. Or we get into the economic boom, which will put further demand on a shrinking workforce. To acquire skilled staff going forward is going to be a costly venture, and if we get skilled staff at all. To avoid additional costs and a gap in skilled resources, we need to ensure we have a strong succession plan in place to be able to continue to invest in our current staff and increase their skill level, to ensure employee retention and to ensure smooth succession as our employees leave the workforce. To me, this is the best option to ensure ongoing sustainability, providing a positive work environment for staff and to provide ongoing high-quality service delivery to our community. Other key items that this council will need to consider include the rationalization of the paramedic stations with a view towards optimizing service delivery and physical footprint. Looking at the future of long-term care in the county, we need to look at things as do we expand on our current site, or do we have facilities in the north portions of the county, or do we do nothing? We need to continue on the focus of future economic development charter by increasing tourism services, trails management, and active transportation. We need to continue to identify shared services opportunities throughout the 4 townships and with the county. We need to develop a robust transportation service solution for our seniors and those in need. We need to include green energy policies for future planning, and we need to strengthen our regional community improvement plans. And finally, we need to put a renewed focus on our rural health care. As I mentioned in my opening comments, I wish to express a very sincere thank you to the past council. The last council worked hard over the last 4 years and have implemented solid, long-term plans which this council can build from. And a very special thanks to all the staff who have worked hard to providing services to the public, shared services to the townships, and worked hard at implementing the policy directions of council. For me personally, I would like to give special thanks to our CAO, Kelly Pecker. Kelly works tirelessly to find solutions, develop innovative ways to work together, and misses many nights sleep working on major issues as they arise. Kelly always provides council with detailed analysis, factual data, and options for council to consider. His attention to detail provides our council with the information we need in order to make an informed and an educated decision. I also want to give special thanks to our clerk, Jeanette Amini, who has provided myself and other council members with expert guidance and support, which allows us to focus on our role at the council table. Jeanette recently asked me if there's anything else that could be done to improve the council proceedings heading into this new term. She asked me that a couple of weeks ago. I had to think long and hard on that one, and had to resort to the fact that her processes are perfect the way they are. And apparently, from what I hear, Jeanette's been trying to tell Kelly that for several years now. Deputy Warden Doyle, I want to thank you for supporting my role as warden in the last term when I couldn't attend some functions over the last year, and for always offering your support where you could. Thank you. And thank you to all the managers and your staff for providing great services to our community, for the great reports at our meetings, and for gathering information as requested by council. We also have many volunteers in the county, and I would like to extend my sincere appreciation and thanks for the huge commitment for our volunteers that they make for our community at large. For members of the public, we want to thank you for all your input and hope to continue forging strong and collaborative relationships going forward. And for all our stakeholders we work with, we appreciate your collaboration, look forward to continuing effective working relationships. Some of the key stakeholders include our provincial and federal partners, the City of Kingston, Community Services, Community Futures Development Corporations, members of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, our 4 townships, and our conservation authorities. I'd also like to thank the families of the members of council. Many times we've had to attend a meeting or a function that may impact our family obligations at night or on weekends. We thank you for taking calls and messages when we are not there. Without your understanding and support, we would not be able to perform our jobs effectively, and for this we say thank you. With that, I want to say thanks again to everybody for the last 4 years, and thank council for electing me to the position of warden today. I will continue to work hard at making our county a destination of choice community, and one that we continue to be proud of, to live, to work, and to play in. Thank you.
Good morning, Warden Higgins, members of County Council, special guests, ladies and gentlemen. As Warden Higgins just mentioned, the Honourable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, can't be here, so I'll offer his remarks on his behalf. The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing wants to express his sincere appreciation for the kind invitation to join you at this morning's inaugural meeting at Frontenac County Council. The Minister apologizes that he's unable to attend given the emergency recall of the legislature this week in order to pass legislation that would prevent large-scale power outages across the province. As a member of the government, it's important for the Minister to be with our team at Queen's Park to ensure this bill is passed so that the lights will remain on over Christmas. Certainly, as members of County Council and elected officials in our own municipalities, I know you understand the importance of teamwork and being there to support those with whom you are elected to serve. The Minister can't be here in person to congratulate Warden Higgins, but appreciates this opportunities for the Minister, on behalf of the Minister and our government. I wish Warden Higgins and members of County Council the best during the coming term of office, and look forward to working closely with you on your shared priority of bringing new investment and opportunity to the residents of Frontenac County. Let me also take this time to wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. And may 2019 bring with it blessings of good health, happiness, and prosperity. Sincerely, Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Maybe I'll just make one other reference mention while I'm here. Warden Higgins mentioned Frontenac has been here since 1865 as an entity. In 2017, I was proud to attend the 225th recreation of the very first Legislative Assembly of Ontario. It was happened in 1792, and Frontenac County was one of there was less than 20 political jurisdictions back in 1792, but I was proud to be there on behalf of Frontenac County and represent. So your history goes back even further. It was recognized to be unique and distinct long before it was actually created. Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you very much, and congratulations to Warden Higgins and Deputy Warden Smith. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's an absolute honor to be here once again to inaugurate this new council into a new term of being able to bring great things for the County of Frontenac. My ride in Kingston, the Islands, crosses over one municipality, the City of Kingston and the County of Frontenac. And within the last 24 hours, both have had their inaugural meetings. I was only invited to one. So by my count, it's currently County of Frontenac 1, City of Kingston 0. Sorry, Mayor.
We get all the favors then.
You get all the favors, Dennis. No, but in all honesty, it's great to be here and to see you embark upon this new journey. You know, a lot of people ask me, because I've had the opportunity to work in municipal politics as well as federal, you know, what's the difference? Do you miss being in the City of Kingston, in the municipal structure there? And I always tell people, and I'm sure that Scott Reed and Randy Hillier can say the same thing, the thing about municipal politics is that you are absolutely connected to the people. Everything that you do affects and impacts the lives of your constituents on a daily basis. Nobody can leave their home and go anywhere, or for that matter, even just wake up without leaving their home, without being impacted by the services that you provide. And so for that, you should be extremely grateful and listening to the accomplishments of the past term, and as you set and embark upon new opportunities to bring new services to your residents, I hope that you take extreme pride in the fact that you are able to impact everybody's lives on a daily basis. And if there's one thing that I miss, and I tell people that, it's that. It's when you go out to build something, a year later you can actually see that thing having been built. Scott can tell you, we don't get that luxury in Ottawa. You don't get to see the tangible results later on. But I will also say, and I want to make sure that it is left upon you, that your federal government is here to work with you. We appreciate and understand the fact that it is absolutely imperative for municipalities to be successful that you have provincial partners and federal partners that are at the table with you. And that's why we were extremely pleased and continue to support in any way that we can projects like the new ferry to Wolf Island, where the federal government has contributed to that, and the new one to Amherst Island, as well as increasing the capacity of digital infrastructure in the rural parts of Ontario. You know, you have another great ally, and I know that rural connectivity will come up quite a bit in your discussions. Another great ally is Mike Bosio, your MP, to the west of me. Mike is such a passionate individual when it comes to talking about this issue. And I can tell you that the federal government is here to work with you to make sure that we can help realize those goals that you set. So please, you know, come and see me, come and see Scott. We might be of different political parties, but we get along great in the House, and we will always collaborate to make this region of Ontario and of Canada a better place for everybody. So remember that my door is always open. Come and see me, and I look forward to working with you over the next term of office that you have. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
So one thing about working jointly with Mark is that I get used to adjusting to my I'd like to say that Mark and I see eye to eye on everything, but that is only true when I'm standing on a step higher than Mark. You can tell, you can't tell short jokes, people get upset. But you can tell all the tall jokes you want, nobody ever gets upset. And that comes in handy when dealing with Bridgell, of course. I wanted to say this. Several things I wanted to say, actually. Some of them caused run by your remarks earlier. So first of all, congratulations to everybody who's here. Last year, Mark and I had the satisfaction of saying we're the only politicians in this area not running for re-election and not potentially running for re-election. I realized that 3 of the 4 mayors here were acclaimed. But this year we are the only two going in for re-election. My suspicion as a practical matter is Land Frontenac Kingston is pretty conservative. Kingston and the Islands is pretty liberal. We're likely to be back. I think that we see something that's likely to occur at the federal level on many occasions, which is that we'll have a conservative representing part of Frontenac and a liberal representing another part of Frontenac, and that is actually an advantage. After the last election, we went out for dinner along with our wives at Chez Piggy and chatted about the fact that regardless of who's in government, you'll have an opposition member and a government member, and that is actually a handy thing to have in terms of causing the kinds of generally nonpartisan infrastructure-related issues that arise at the municipal level to be dealt with. So I can either be outraged at the lack of action from the Liberals, or potentially Mark could be outraged at the lack of action from the Conservatives, as the case may be going forward. I wanted to deal with something that Ron actually brought along, your inaugural opening remarks to the North Frontenac municipality. And what I intended to say was to say how useful and helpful these kinds of remarks are, and to encourage whoever the new warden was going to be to do the same thing. I did not anticipate that you would actually already have done that, and so I wound up taking notes during your remarks, which I think would be profitable to send on in written form to both Mark and myself, and also to the two provincial representatives for Frontenac County, outlining that all my notes start from your phrase, "We have the following challenges." Because of course, the past is the past, we can't change that or make it better than it was, but there are a number of things that are highly relevant where both the federal and provincial governments can play either a useful or a non-useful role, including the cell gap, the completion of the KMP trail gaps, which cannot be filled in without expense, and some of the other issues. I don't know if it can be helpful with some of the other issues identified, but it's helpful to have that. And I was very impressed by your 7-page remarks from December the 3rd from North Frontenac for precisely that reason. The note I'd made to myself to mention was that one of the things the Americans do well that we don't, there's so little they do better than us, but they do have, the president, of course, every year gives the State of the Union address, and every governor gives a State of the State address, laying out the agenda for the year. And likewise, this happens at the municipal level. You have the State of the City address given out by most mayors. Federally, our version of this is, and provincially, is the Speech from the Throne, which is done periodically and not on an annual basis. And I think setting the annual agenda is very, very helpful. So what you've done this year is very helpful. I would encourage next year the warden with the assistance of council to do the same thing, to pass it on to those of us at the federal, provincial level. And then I just wanted to bring up some comments that come out of your remarks. I don't know whether you are correctly looking into the crystal ball and correctly see what the future holds with regard to municipal amalgamation. But given the fact that we have my opposite number, Randy, who reports back to the minister, and the minister is, of course, from adjoining riding, I just had these thoughts to pass on to an audience of one. And they're the following. On the subject of amalgamations, you noted, of course, Ron, that it didn't work out as anticipated. So anybody who follows the stock market observes that also does not work out as anticipated. Anybody who follows the history of anything knows that nothing works out as anticipated. And I would make the modest suggestion that if we try and go back and correct the errors of the past through further amalgamations, we are likely to create a whole series of unanticipated problems, that there is merit on jurisdictions that last a long time, on constitutional arrangements, if you want to call them that, foundational or organic arrangements, laws that last a long time. And anybody who thinks otherwise should consider the success of the Canadian Constitution, which is now 152 years old, 51 and a half years old, as compared to the various constitutions that have been changed during the last century. We did not expect that our provinces would become as disparate in size as they've been at the time of Confederation. We did not know for certain that we would stretch to the Pacific coast, etc. So a lot of that didn't turn out as anticipated, but I think it was better, frankly, to make the minor adjustments we've made on the way than to do what, pick on the French, they come to mind, what the French have done over a similar period of time with 5 republics, 3 monarchies, and 2 empires, one would say that there is much to be said for not pulling yourself up by the roots to see how you're growing. I note that in Quebec, municipal amalgamations were partly reversed, suggesting they don't work. I note that the New York City amalgamation started in the 1890s has never worked out the way it was anticipated, and I think having competing cities instead of boroughs within the same city didn't work out. That's on the grand scale. I know that in Switzerland, where they have avoided amalgamations, on the whole they found ways of dealing with actually through cooperation of municipalities together, which after all is the whole point of something like Frontenac County, is to allow the individual municipalities to work together, provide services that can't be done otherwise, and likewise the special services boards that exist across county boundaries, amalgamating some of them. And I'll just point out that there's an excellent book if anybody wants to read about this, called The Vermont Manifesto by a man who was candidate for governor of Vermont back about 20 years ago, dealing with how to deal with small municipalities and make it work. And his state has very wisely decided against amalgamations. Finally, years ago there was something called the Fewer Politicians Act, which was designed to make Ontario run more efficiently by reducing the number of politicians. I've always thought that the better approach, they do this in New Hampshire, is you have a large legislature with many people, larger councils, you just pay them less. My colleagues do not like the idea of a less well-paid politicians act, but I actually think that both at the federal level and elsewhere, having a wide variety of points of view is beneficial. I realize you can't change that. That's a matter for the provincial government, but I would say that's the right way to go. One last thought, because you do have to consider the possibility of how you deal with your own districts internally, and this is as municipal councils. There are different ways of dealing with this. One way is to say we have to restructure to have our districts be equal in population. Another way is to say we respect the districts and what they were, and we're going to try to adjust the number of representatives per district. The former way is the one we're most familiar with in Canada. That's how we do ridings. But the alternative is a respectable way of doing things. It's done, for example, in Ireland, where the traditional boundaries of the counties are treated very seriously. The number of members who go to the legislature from each county does vary, and that's how they adjust to population changes. I think trying to make sure that you deal with your own issues of representation locally is the right way of dealing with them. I don't think that having a higher level of government getting involved is the right way, and these are just some thoughts to leave with you. But I do want to say again, thank you very much. Ron, I've been very impressed by what you've done as a mayor. All the mayors have been impressed by what you do, and it's obvious that the voters think so too, or they would not have sent you back 3 of the 4 of you without opposition, and the one who was opposed with a convincing majority, to say the least. I would love to get your kind of majority, Ron. So I wish you very well for the next 4 years, and look forward to considerable success in the future.
Well, listen, thanks for the deja vu repeat here. Listen, I'll keep my remarks short. I do want to express my sincere congratulations and thanks Ron, for everything you've done in county council, all the mayors, Reeves, Deputy Reeves, and look forward to another 4 years of a very successful term for Frontenac County and a prosperous term for Frontenac County. I think there's been a few comments. I'll say this, I look forward, regardless of whatever comes up down the road in 4 years, whatever challenges the county and municipalities have to face, I'll be proud to be with you, proud to work with you, and make sure that we use a strong collaborative approach and that we make things better for this very unique, distinct, and proud jurisdiction of Frontenac County. I will say this, there were some discussions between myself and the caucus over the recall of the legislature, and as we know, Minister Clark couldn't be here today, so we had to get down to some knuckles. Very frequently, the inaugural meeting for Frontenac Council happens when the legislature is sitting, and I made a commitment that we weren't sitting this year, I was going to be at Frontenac County Council this year. And then sure enough, Friday we hear that we're going to be recalled this week. So I said to the whip, I said, there's two things that are happening next week that we need to make sure that you've got enough votes down there for that bill, so I don't have to be there. And he said, well, what are the two things? And I said, well, first off, there's the inaugural Frontenac County Council meeting. I have to be there. And he said, well, what's the second thing? And I said, it's my 4-year-old grandson's first Christmas concert. And I said, I can't miss that one either. So, listen, I look forward to working with everyone, look forward to having a continued great relationship and meeting those challenges, Warden, that you've identified, and many have identified, and making sure that we overcome them in the best possible way. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, Warden Higgins, members of County Council, ladies and gentlemen. It is a sincere pleasure to join you here for today's inaugural meeting, and I do bring greetings and congratulations from all of Kingston City Council. I look forward to working with you to address many of our shared challenges and to be able to embrace our shared opportunities. Certainly as a city, we are looking forward to advancing our vision of smart growth, which is everything from more housing, economic development, embracing technology, environmental leadership, cultural vitality, and breaking cycles of poverty. But I can tell you that there is certainly an understanding from my chair and from our council that these are opportunities and challenges that we need to address from a broader perspective. And so we look forward to that regional collaboration and that understanding that every day there are thousands of people that cross the border between our two municipalities. And for that reason, I have definitely been convinced of this, that whether it's more housing, whether it's economic development, whether it's more tourism, what is good for the County of Frontenac is good for the City of Kingston. And what is good for the City of Kingston is good for the County of Frontenac. So I look forward to that partnership, and I do wish you very best wishes, not only over the Christmas holidays, but over the next 4 years as well. Thanks very much.
Legislative items we have to clear for first. First, we have the appointments of the boards.
Yes, so the first item up is the Kingston Frontenac Public Library Board, and it requires a nomination of 1 member of council and 2 members of the public. Council was distributed under a separate package the applications by members of the public. There were 4 applications received: Louise Moody, Natalie Nossel, Will McKenney, and Terry Heffernan. So 2 of those individuals will need to be selected along with 1 member of council. So is there a member of council that is looking to serve on that board? We can start the councillor first.
Feel free to nominate yourself if you will.
Yes.
We need a seconder.
And no, we'll pass it all in one motion. If there's just the one, we can do it all in one motion. But we need 2 members of the public.
Do you want them both? I nominate Will McKenney and Natalie Nossel.
Is there any other ones that somebody would like to nominate?
I nominate Louise Moody.
Are there any others? So, because we have 3, what we're going to do is we're going to just go around the table, and each councillor has 2 votes. You can vote for 2 people of those 4. So I'll start with you, Councillor Doyle. You have 2 choices between Will and Natalie and Louise.
Natalie Nossel.
And the other one? No, we have to pick 2.
Do I have to make two? I don't know the other 2 that well. Louise.
Louise and Natalie.
Natalie and Louise.
And Councillor McDonald?
Wilma and Louise.
Youth.
Councilor Martin?
Louise and Natalie.
And Councilor Vanderwall?
Wilma and Natalie.
And Gordon Higgins?
Wilma and Natalie.
So, Wilma Kenny has 4 votes, Natalie has 5, and Louise has 5. So the 2 we would put on there is Natalie and Louise. And then the next one is to, 1 member of council to the Kingston, Frontenac, Livingston, Addington Public Health Board. Is there interested, who is interested in serving?
I nominate Dennis Webb.
Is there anybody else interested in serving on the health unit? No? Okay, so, and then the next one is the Housing and Homelessness Advisory Committee with the City of Kingston, and 1 member of council.
What about the 2 members of the community? 2 members of the community for the library?
No, there's no members of the community on
Okay.
public health. So,
I'll nominate Fran Smith for the housing and homelessness.
is there anyone else who'd like to sit on that? No? And then the last one is the Food Policy Council of Kingston, Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington. Is anybody interested in sitting on that?
Is that food policy? Okay. I'll nominate Bruce Higgs.
Is there anyone else who's interested? So I'll just pass the motion here. So we have a motion, I just need a mover and a seconder to move the motion to appoint Councillor Alan Ravel and Natalie Nossel and Louise Moody to the Kingston Frontenac Public Library Board, and to appoint Councillor Dennis Doyle to the Kingston Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington Public Health Board, and to appoint Councillor Frank Smith to the Housing and Homelessness Advisory Committee, and to appoint Councillor Bruce Higgs to the Food Policy Council of Kingston Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington. I just need a mover and a seconder for that motion. Moved by Deputy Warden Smith, and a seconder. Councillor McDonald.
Okay. So you've all heard the motion, or any other discussions on that? All in favor? Carried.
And then there's just one time-sensitive item, moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Higgs. Resolved that the Council of the County of Frontenac received the Corporate Services interim approval of 2019 expenditure report, and further that the Council direct the Treasurer to continue to pay 2019 accounts and payroll in accordance with the amounts approved in the 2018 budget until such time as the 2019 budget has been adopted.
All heard the resolution, all in favor? Carried. With that, I'll just make a short, quick closing remarks. Just again, want to thank everybody that came out today to watch our inaugural meeting. Thank you, Madam Truesdale, for helping us through the process. Welcome to the council, and thanks to our distinguished guests for your remarks today. Very much appreciated. Look forward to working with you together. So with that, we'll go into bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Rebel. Resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce bylaws A through C that have been circulated to all members of County Council, and that bylaws A through C be read a first and second time.
All in favor? Carried.
Moved by Councillor Rebel, seconded by Councillor Martin. Resolved that bylaws A through C be read a third time, signed, sealed, and finally passed.
All in favor? Carried.
Moved by Councillor Vanderwall, seconded by Councillor Doyle, that the meeting hereby adjourn at 10:29 a.m.
All in favor? Carried. We're off and running.